Hey, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It is July 19th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And real quickly, um, for some reason the video didn't update or upload properly last night. I guess I'm gonna have to start hanging around and making sure that it takes. I don't know what. Twice has happened in the last few weeks. I did have to do it twice. I was a little tired by the time I got it done, so maybe it was an error on my part. But needless to say, I didn't get it uploaded till this morning. So if you didn't find yesterday's video, it should be there now. And if you're watching this one, you probably saw the other ones popped up as well. So, but if you didn't, it should be there. So anyway, here's a look at our daily chart. You can see we continued to push higher today, although we did sell off from the highs. On the daily chart, it still looks like a slightly up day, which it is on the intraday chart, but it was mostly mixed trading today. We're getting well into overbought territory, so we're probably going to see some selling start to come in, especially if this is the upper side of the trend channel line, which it does appear that prices have respected that trend channel line. Even though we traded higher, we closed below that, so that could be an important signal there. That doesn't mean we can't keep crawling up that line for a while, but generally, after you touch that line, you're going to sell off pretty quickly. So we could see a correction here shortly. Uh, don't bank on that. If you get a correction, go with it. If we don't, and the prices continue to trend higher, just keep buying. You can't argue with the market. So this market is strong right now, and so don't let it lull you to sleep and then fool you. So, but we could get a correction at any time, so just be aware of it. Anyway, let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart and go through today's trades, and we'll wrap today up. And here it is, and you can see we had some mixed trading. We rallied early, the rally continued, and we had a big sell-off. We took it all back, and then we sold off again and just kind of chopped around, and then we rallied and then sold off again. So every time we're finding some strong resistance up here around the 4,600 level, and that's pretty common. That when you get to the century levels, the 100 levels on the price bar, you tend to they continue to be or they tend to be rather emotional areas where you'll get a lot of selling if you're trading into it from underneath, or a lot of buying if you're selling into it from above. So not uncommon. It may take a little bit to work through this, and with the market being overbought on the daily chart, we probably need a little correction. So this could just be a lull in the trend, or it could be a turning point. It's just hard to say at this point. It looks like on the daily chart we have a lot of room to go, so we could go much. Looks like we could easily get to 5,000 looking at the daily chart. Doesn't mean that's going to happen by any means, but it just looks like a strong possibility. So anyway, let's zoom on in here and we'll go through the trades. And we started off in this range, kind of typical lately. We start off in a range. 7 o'clock came right in here somewhere. So by 7:15 you need to be flat. And so I'd give that maybe 10, 15 minutes. So the news came out at 7:30. So 10 minutes, it looks like we're okay. But I don't see any chance to buy anything there. This thing just takes off without us. We get a break here with a second entry right off the key entry point. Quick, easy second entry when you're looking for a retest of the high here. And somebody, I've had a bunch of people ask me, most of the time you expect a failure on a breakout. Well, there's not a lot of price action here, and this is all early morning uh, pre-regular session. So this is overnight trading basically. Once you hit the white here, that's when the 8:30 regular session opening would be. So it's not uncommon to not come back and test this, especially when the market's strong like it has been. We've traded up into this sideways level, so you would figure that if we're going to successfully break out, it'll probably be to the upside as well. This thing just takes off. Just stay with this trend as long as it's here, and it just kind of here. This is really too steep and too strong, so it kind of folds over, and then it runs into trouble here and kind of sells off. This is the way I drew it originally. It might have been a little different. I looked at it both ways. One way here, you do get a break and a new high, I believe, if I drew it the way I originally had it. I think I originally drew it like this and I changed it. And you can see we do get a break there. And I don't know if we quite get a new high. Maybe we don't quite get one still. No, it's matching highs, so we do get a new high here though. So that would have been get the break, move to a new high, and then we sold off. So yeah, that's probably accurate. It fit really well both ways, so it's really hard to say. And you can see maybe if you drew it right off the closes there, you still get a close outside, but I think I had it right up on the closes. And most of the time you're going to start from the low. Every now and then you'll have to start off the closes. So I think we get a break there no matter how you draw it, really, if you adjust this thing properly. So there it is, you get a break, and it takes a while, but we eventually get a new high. Then it sells off. So really strong rally here. Again, you get a second entry, perfect setup. Take that trade. We run on up to a new high on this green one. This is just a spiking channel is what it is. This is a very strong spike. So I thought we'd really might have a chance of having another strong rally today, but we just way overbought now. So, but anyway, we make a new high. You make a lower high here. You might take that trade if there's enough room there. I didn't mark it, but it's one that you might consider. It only looks like one leg up, really, so there's a good chance you could get trapped. And you do get a second leg up here, but it comes a little later. But it's a possibility you can go short there. And then I'd draw the trend line here. And then you get you test it several other times here. There is a second entry here, first entry, second entry. I didn't mark this one because it's in this range, looks real congested. You don't want to go long right into those highs. It's a really strong bar. It's real tempting. What you might do is let it break higher and put a buy stop back in here, down in here somewhere to give yourself room to get out when it comes back again, just in case. But I'd probably just skip that trade. And if you watch, you get a breakout here, and it pulls back and tests it and turns up and gives you a failed second entry short. Notice the new low, first entry. Here, let me zoom in a little more so you can see this a little better. New low, first entry. Second entry, it fails. If it breaks above that, it's a failure. And you can see we've got plenty of room back to the highs here. I like that trade. That's a little more advanced because it is a failure. But we should run to the other side, which we do. Then you get a break, move to a new high, and then we turn down. It's just one move all the way back down. Very neutral signal bar, so you can't go long there. You get another trend working up, a break, move to a new high, and turns down. It's tempting to go short there, but we're not quite back to the trend line, so that can burn you. So I'd probably skip that. We're not really that far away from the EMA either. We continue to kind of chop lower here until we get a close outside new low. You do get a higher low here. Again, I wouldn't take an engulfing bar with that doji there. And it does close above the EMA, so maybe you trade that as a higher low. I'd probably sit tight on it. It would have worked. So maybe you trade that as a higher low, but I'm not crazy about it. But you do get a couple of legs up here. I didn't draw the trend line. There's one going up here. Just like so. This looked like a retest kind of, so I didn't really draw it, but you can clearly see we trend up. We get a close outside, move to a new high in reverse. Lower high here, but there's not much room to that low right there, so I'm real leery of that when you see what happens. It bounces. So there's still a chance you could get a retest of the high on this channel here because we don't have a high yet. We just started. We got one leg up, so there's a good chance we could get another leg up. So on that second entry, I like going long. It's a quick, easy scalp, but it doesn't get anything more, and it just sells off. And I'm not crazy about going short there, but you could argue that there's a triple test. We came up once, came back twice, and we came back 2 times and 3 times, and that's a second entry short. So the problem is we're still looking for a retest of the high, so it's a little awkward going short there. But hey, if you see that, there's still plenty of room to get out here, so take that trade. It's really hard, especially if you're new to price action, to flip flop here. But you got a second entry long, and then you got a triple test short, and you could take both of those. But that's really hard to do for most people. So if you didn't take the long, maybe you take the short. But if you took the long, it's oftentimes hard to take that short. So anyway, and you might still be trading. You might still have a runner going. I would exit if it broke below there, though, and take whatever it gave me, whatever I got between there and there. Maybe you get another point out of it. But then we get a break here. We've got a strong trend working down. You get a break. First entry, second entry. Signal bar is no good. There's another chance to enter here, but it's really congested across there, and you see it doesn't go very far. And then I'd draw my trend line here because this might be another spiking channel. And you get a second entry long here, a third test, which confirms that trend line. It's a real flat trend line, but it's there all the same if you see it. Second entry long, maybe you take that. I marked it blue if you see it and understand what's going on. It's a little congested there, but I think there's enough room to get out before that last high. So maybe you still take that trade. It takes it a minute, but it takes on off, and then we got a trend working down. I didn't draw a trend here. There's no setups or anything. I think the trend really starts right there. But no setups there. Runs back to the high. And again, we're trending higher here, so I'd stick to longs. And we're just kind of chopping along here. But notice we you get 2 legs down, and then you get a close outside. You tried to go short twice, and it fails right off the midline, right off the EMA, and it gives you a nice bullish bar. I like trading that as a failure just to get a quick scalp out of it. That's about all you're looking for. You might have got a runner out of that. Probably would have, depending on how you played it. But if you could, I mean, again, there's like 4 points there, so a couple of 3 points out of that, and it's a nice run. But it looks like we get an overshoot here. There's a lower high. It's really tempting. It's not quite far enough away from the EMA. I think you got to be careful going short here. We have did we make a new high there? Yeah, I think that's where we make a new high. Maybe not. Yeah, that's where you make a new high. Plus we have the new high in place. So that's really tempting. I didn't mark it. It's a possibility. You probably wouldn't have got anything but a scalp out of it anyway. And then eventually we turn down here and we just start working lower. This looks like 2 legs back, but it doesn't quite get to the EMA. It's right off the key entry point, and it confirms it. There's not a lot of room there. As you can see, there's only 1 point, so I'm hesitant to take that trade, even though it looks like 2 legs back to the key entry point. I'd skip it. We only get a first entry here as well. Another first entry. And then next thing you know, we're working sideways here. I like this one just for a triple test. This breaks higher and turns down. You could trade this on the engulfing bar, or you could just wait until it closes and see how it closes and then go 1 tick below it. We actually fell out the bottom below this double bottom, so we do get the break and finally get a new low, and then it reverses. This is a second entry long too when it breaks higher here. You got a leg back, first entry, second entry. I didn't mark it because there is a 2-bar matching low, so you might take that trade. It's a little ways away from the EMA. I'd probably want to wait on a higher low, and we just don't get it. It runs straight back to the highs. This one's tempting, but you still got this trend in place, so just kind of wait and see. And by the time you get anything else, we're congested here going sideways. Finally, it drops on down. That one's tempting as well, but I'd wait on a higher low, which comes here, runs up, and then we make another high here. This signal bar is questionable, but it's clear that we've been turning down across there every time. So maybe that closes in the lower 130. It's off probably by a tick or two in my opinion. I marked it red regardless. If you had a really good signal bar there, by all means take it. If your signal bar is worse than mine, I probably wouldn't take it. And even here, it's pushing it. I probably should mark that green because the signal bar is really pushing it. But we've turned down there every time, and we traded down into this, so the bias is down here. So your better trades are going to be the shorts if you get them. There's a lower high here, but not a very good setup. And then, of course, it just drops. It breaks out, and we start working sideways. I don't see anything in here too congested and too sideways. Runs up, and finally you get a first entry and then second entry here. It doesn't make a new low, but it does make a lower high before it breaks higher. So that's a second entry long right off the key entry point. Runs up here. Then you get a little second entry. This is starting to look again like that late afternoon strong rally. This looks like a really strong rally. So maybe you take that. There's not a lot of room to scalp out there, but again, it does look like a strong trend. That's a very weak correction, and there's a good chance it could go higher. So maybe you risk it. And that takes us into 230. This is just sideways stuff. So there it is again. Just kind of a mixed trading day. Nothing too fancy going on here. What looked like was going to be a real strong trend day again kind of played out, and we kind of worked our way lower. Real weakly, but we did work our way lower. So, I mean, we had some pretty good sell-offs here, but they just wouldn't sustain themselves, and they'd take it back. This market just wants to go higher. Still a lot of buying coming in, but the volume and volatility remain lower, so maybe it's here to stay. We'll have to see. But that's how I saw it. I'm not going to beat around the bush today. I'm going to wrap it up and get out of here at a decent hour. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.